Gather in your presence today seeking guidance and strength. We thank you for the opportunity to serve this community, and we ask that you bless this meeting and all who are present. Grant us the unity, synergy, and discernment to act with justice, the humility to listen with open hearts, and the courage to pursue what is right for the common good. May peace, respect, and understanding govern our deliberations. Bless those who lead, those who labor, and those whose voices we represent. May our work this day bring honor to the responsibilities entrusted to us and serve the needs of every person in our counties. Allow us to access a greater source of wisdom beyond ourselves, and we shall forever be grateful. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, please remain standing. It is my honor to welcome my alma mater from the Miami Sunset Senior High School. And yes, I know that there's another colleague of mine that also graduated from Sunset, but I'm the most recent graduate. From so Cohen-Higgins. Yeah, I woke up like Commissioner Regalado, choosing violence today. It is my honor to welcome their Army JROTC cadets who will render the presentation of colors today, and then followed by U.S. Army Captain Julio Velez that will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Pledge of Allegiance. Prepare arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order! Arms!
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, good morning. Madam Attorney, can I go straight into the citizens' presentation at this time?
Do we have any cards for that, or is that?
Nope.
You have no cards, then yes, that's appropriate.
All right, Commissioner Gilbert, would you like to call them up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to call up the President of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for citizens' presentation. Madam President, please come forward.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Mayor, and our D9 brothers that sit on the commission, and everyone in their respected place. My name is Stephanie Steele Nelson, and I am the immediate past president and proud member of the Miami Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. a public service organization founded January 13, 1913, with principles focused on scholarship, service, sisterhood, and social action. The Miami Alumni Chapter has a long-standing commitment to uplifting and empowering our local community through civic engagement, educational programming, economic development initiatives, and health advocacy. We are part of a national network with over 1,000 chapters working collectively to drive meaningful change across the country. Today, we are here to continue that legacy by engaging with our local leaders on issues that directly impact the residents of Miami-Dade County, such as affordable and accessible housing, Black maternal health and healthcare equity, gun violence prevention and public safety, economic development for minority-owned businesses, support for aging residents and in-care, home care, environmental justice and climate resilience, youth empowerment and educational equity, civic engagement, and voters' rights. These are our priorities, and they align with Delta Sigma Theta's social action agenda and reflect the needs of the community in which we serve. We look forward to your partnership in addressing these concerns and advancing equity, justice, and opportunity. So again, thanks so much for the proclamation. Thanks for allowing us to share this morning our concerns. And on behalf of our president, Dr. Kieta Givens, in her absence, and over 400 members that make up the Miami Alumni Chapter, and I stand here with our sister chapter, Dade County Alumni, we thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm actually not Tony Harrison. She's doing a depot this morning, and she asked me to step in. This is not my typical role. I'm a member, actually Alpha Line, 1984. I'm agent to Dade County Alumni Chapter. First, she wanted to express her deep appreciation to the mayor, as well as the chairman, vice chairman McGee, also the members of the Dade County Board of County Commissioners. We'd like to also recognize and thank Commissioner Oliver Gilbert for his visionary leadership and steadfast advocacy. Your historic effort to honor the Divine Nine with dedicated roads named after each organization, including our own beloved Delta Sigma Theta, is a powerful recognition of our legacy and our continued impact on this community. Your sponsorship of the landmark ordinance doubling paid parental leave for Miami-Dade County employees is also a bold step toward equity, family stability, etc. Thanks so much for having us today. We continue to serve. You have very good taste, Commissioner Gilbert, in terms of selection of your wife, and we will be here and waiting to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause? Commissioner Gilbert, this is your item. Would you like to speak on it now before we open it up for the rest of the members?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I would just like to say, sometimes there's this thing we do in the Baptist Church that says, may the work that we do speak for us. And if they hadn't said a word, their work speaks for them. This Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has been at the heart of so many extraordinary things that happen in our community. And so they take this day to come out and do local civic advocacy. But in the real world, I'm happy that you all do this every year, and I'm happy to sponsor this. So that gives me an opportunity and us an opportunity to say thank you. There's so many people like you and so many groups like you in this community that truly make Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade County. You know, a county is one thing, a community is something different. You all give heart and passion and purpose to this community, and I appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the members of the dais? Thank you. Thank you to the Sisters of Delta Sigma Theta for everything you do. And I can honestly say this community would not be where it is without your support and your love and your dedication and your influence and your impact. So thank you so much.
All right, Madam Attorney, what's the right? Should we go into a reasonable opportunity at this time, or?
Yes, that would be appropriate.
All right, I have one speaker signed up for item 313, Michael Rosenberg. You may approach. Rosenberg, I think you've been made aware to stay on topic. On the item you signed up to speak. You have 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Well, before you cut me off, if I get a little off topic,
That I will do.
oh, no, I've seen it before. So yesterday when I printed out the agenda, it didn't say withdrawn. And today I got here after spending 2 hours to get here and was told it is officially withdrawn. But I,
3813, the item you registered to speak on is not withdrawn.
no, the one that I wanted to speak on.
Oh, but that's not.
But
It is withdrawn.
it didn't say withdrawn yesterday when I looked at the agenda. It changed somewhere overnight.
So I'm not going to debate that right now.
Okay, so my question is, on your rules for your in-house Board of County Commissioners meeting, 1G says reasonable opportunity for people
We don't
to
ask
speak.
questions from the podium in reasonable opportunity. You have
Okay,
2 minutes to
and
speak. You're
then-
down to a minute 20.
Okay, and then it says the motion to set the agenda comes after reasonable speaking. So I would assume that 4B is still on the agenda until you actually pull it. I don't know the rules, but I'm just reading how you do it. Okay, so I'm still operating as if it's on the agenda. You can cut me off if you have to. So I'm wearing a card that says authorized feeders, which would be a solution
Yep,
to
this
our...
is where you get cut off. All right, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. All right, Madam Attorney. Reasonable opportunity is now closed. I have no other registered speakers signed up to speak. Is it in order to set the agenda at this time?
So moved. Yes.
Been moved by Commissioner Regalado.
May I read some changes into the record? before
Yes,
we
it's
do
seconded
that?
by Commissioner Steinberg. And Madam Attorney, please go ahead and read the changes.
Thank you. 2B2, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins is adding this item to the pull list. 2B5, Senator Garcia and Commissioner Bermudez add this item to the pull list. 2B6, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins adds this item to the pull list. 8P3, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins and Commissioner Higgins and Commissioner Cohen-Higgins add this item to the pull list. That was 8P3. I have some additional requests for co-sponsorship. 2B1, Commissioner Steinberg assumes sponsorship. 8 and 5, Senator Garcia, co-sponsor. 9A1, Commissioner Steinberg, co-sponsor. And 14A2, Senator Garcia and Commissioner Steinberg, co-sponsors. The items to be considered at today's meeting will be those listed in the printed final agenda with the additions, deferrals, withdrawals, and Scrivener's errors noted in the chairman's memorandum and the items I previously mentioned. The commission will approve all of these items by a single vote setting the agenda except ordinances for first reading, public hearings, items 8A1 and 8A2, which are commercial service airport contracts, which must be voted on separately and are not on your poll list, and the following poll list items: 2B2, 2B5, 2B6, 8P3, 14A1, and 14A2. A motion to set the agenda is in order.
It's been moved by Commissioner Regalado, seconded by Commissioner Steinberg. Commissioner Bastian, were you just seconding it, or? Oh, all right. All in favor of setting the agenda signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Show the agenda set.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to move the airport items one by one?
That would work at this time, yes.
I move 8A1.
All right, it's been moved. It's been seconded by Commissioner Cohen-Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay.
Mr. Chair, I move 8A2.
It's been moved by Commissioner Higgins, seconded by Commissioner Cohen-Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Higgins? Was it just those two? I thought we had 3 airport.
The
One got
third
pulled.
airport was pulled.
Got it, okay.
But we do have 14A1 and 14A2, which have not been pulled. If you'd like to take a motion on those at this time.
Perhaps Commissioner Milian Orbis would want to move her, since one of those is her item.
Yes, happy to move them.
All right, so show those 2 items moved by Commissioner Orbis, seconded by Commissioner Bermudez, and Commissioner Gonzalez, you're recognized.
Mr. Chair, if I may ask, for the drafter of 14A2, if I can be listed as a co-sponsor?
All right, show Commissioner Gonzalez listed as a co-sponsor if the sponsor is okay. Commissioner
Yes, thank you
Gilbert,
so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Gilbert, you recognized?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to be recognized as co-sponsor of 14A1 and 14A2.
All right, show Commissioner Gilbert recognize the sponsor of those two items. All right. Are we good? Did we get a motion? Yes, we had the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. All right, show all of those items passed. We're moving right along. Is first reading in order now, Madam Attorney?
Yes, which I can read them.
Please do.
4A is an ordinance relating to the Miami-Dade County Addiction Services Board, amending Article 44 of the code, adding sunset provision and closing Addiction Services Trust Fund, and providing severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. 4C is an ordinance related to the Northwest 7th Avenue Corridor Community Redevelopment Agency, amending Section 2-1887 of the code, authorizing the agency to employ agency staff, agents, and other employees, and legal counsel and legal staff as the agency may require in accordance with Section 163-356 Florida statutes, providing severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. 4D is an ordinance relating to the Northwest 79th Street Corridor Community Redevelopment Agency, amending Section 2-29D8 of the code, authorizing the agency to employ agency staff, agents, and other employees, and legal counsel and legal staff as the agency may require in accordance with Section 163-356 Florida statutes, providing severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. Those are your first reading items.
All right, any bifurcations on any of these first reading items? Seeing no bifurcations, do I have a motion? It's been moved by Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, seconded by Commissioner Bastien. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bastian?
Yes.
Commissioner Bermudez?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen-Higgins? 4. Senator Garcia? Commissioner Gilbert? Commissioner Gonzalez?
4.
Commissioner Higgins? Commissioner Milian Orbis?
Yes.
Commissioner Regalado? Commissioner Steinberg? Vice Chairman McGee?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
I vote yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, Madam Attorney, is public hearing items in order at this time?
Yes. Would you like for me to read them all?
Please do.
5A is a resolution code designating that portion of Northwest 131st Street between North Miami Avenue and Northwest 2nd Avenue as Councilman Jacques Depineau Street, and approving the City of North Miami code designation and its supplement. 5B is a resolution approving the plat of La Primera Grocery 1. 5C is a resolution approving the plat of La Primera Grocery 2. 5D, resolution approving the plat of AC 1 subdivision. 5E is a resolution approving the plat of Aspen Estates West. 5F is a resolution approving the plat of Alex and Ludlam. And 5G is a resolution approving the plat of Newton Road subdivision. At the appropriate time, I do have a request to bifurcate some items. These are your public hearings.
All right, I don't have anyone signed up to speak, right, on any of the public hearing items? All right, so there's no public hearing at this point. Anyone wish to bifurcate any of the items? No bifurcations?
Senator Garcia had requested to bifurcate 5B and 5C.
Okay, 5B and 5C. Any others? Seeing none, do I have a motion on the remainder? It's been moved by Commissioner Bastien, seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bermudez?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen-Higgins? 4. Senator Garcia?
On the remainder. Welcome to the meeting.
I'm sorry, was that a no?
It's a yes, it's a yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Gilbert? Commissioner Gonzalez?
4.
Commissioner Higgins? Commissioner Milian Orbis? Commissioner Regalado? Commissioner Steinberg? Commissioner Bastian? Vice Chairman McGee?
Yes.
Chairman
vote yes.
Rodriguez? Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Chair, I'll move the other two.
Was they pulled was they bifurcated just to vote no, or? Okay, all right, so it's been moved by Commissioner Higgins, 5B and 5C, seconded by Commissioner Gilbert. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cohen-Higgins? 4. Senator Garcia? Commissioner Gilbert? Commissioner Gonzalez?
4.
Commissioner Higgins? Commissioner Milian Orbis? Commissioner Regalado? Commissioner Steinberg? Commissioner Bastian? Commissioner Bermudez? Vice Chairman McGee?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
I vote yes.
Motion passes 11-1.
All right. Madam Attorney, are we on the pool list already?
Yes, we're on the pull list.
All right, let's, so before we go into the pool list real quick, I'll recognize our mayor for some quick remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want you to know that you just passed a very significant item, which is the new Terminal K, Concourse K. It's the first new terminal since 2007. And so we've prepared some special invitations for all of you, which we will now hand out, and hope that you can join us on June 24th at 9:30 for the groundbreaking.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We
Thank you,
look
Mr.
forward to
Chair.
joining you and all of our colleagues for that groundbreaking at Terminal K. All right, on the pool list, Commissioner from District 8, you pulled 2B2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 2B2 is a report prepared that I had sponsored requesting that our administration look into creating an assistance program for homeowners who were applying for zoning applications on their homestead property. If you recall, there was an application in my district of an individual single homeowner that faced quite the uphill battle in getting a simple zoning application passed before this board. And I appreciate the report to the administration. I appreciate the level of detail, but there's no real deadlines and there's no real course that is specific enough for me. And so my request on this report is similar to the Homeowner and Small Business Permitting Assistance Program that was officially created by RER. I would like a homeowner zoning application assistance program created in similar light, and a deadline for that program to be created. The data that's provided in this report reveals that there are quite a number of homeowners in Miami-Dade County that are applying for zoning applications. And our zoning laws are arduous, they're dense, and a lot of people can't afford attorneys or lobbyists to represent them when they come before the board. And I think that this warrants an official program created internally within RER to help our homeowners navigate their zoning applications in that process. So if it is okay with the administration, I simply would like an official program created within RER, similar to the Homeowner and Small Business Permitting Assistance Program, for those homeowners seeking zoning applications.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through the chair, Commissioner, thank you for pointing this out. It certainly sounds very reasonable. I don't have anybody here specifically to, oh, yes, here's Lourdes. If you don't mind, could we just hear from Lourdes Gomez for a moment?
Oh.
Our Director of RER.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to the Commissioner for a second. Oh, actually, yes, you did ask a question of the administration, so go ahead. No, your microphone. Oh, that's me, actually. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Okay. I apologize, Commissioner. I did not hear the question. Can you briefly repeat it?
Yeah, absolutely. In your report, and I appreciate the report, it's very comprehensive, and there's a lot of detail in it, which I appreciate greatly. There's a lot of comparison to our homeowner small business permitting assistance program, and there's discussion about the idea of creating and implementing procedures that are similar to that program. I would like for you all to take it one step further and actually create an assistance program similar to that program, as opposed to just having policies implemented that are in like fashion. To have an actual program created so that our homeowners, when they are seeking to have a zoning application filed with the county and deal with those very arduous, lengthy laws, they don't have the money in order to hire lawyers or lobbyists, that they can have a place within RER specifically and a program identified where they can receive the guidance to navigate that process.
That was 100% the intent, and I apologize if the language was confusing in any way. That is what we intend to do.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Regalado.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. My only concern is there is a legal difference between helping someone with a permit and helping them with zoning. So I just want to be clear, right, that we're not providing them with legal assistance. And there has to be a document that establishes that, right? Because one thing is to provide advice on a permit. It's an administrative issue. The other thing is to provide advice on zoning. I think in this case, we would be looking at mainly residential, so we're not going to be adding other things. But it's just important because there's a lot of state statutes that have nothing to do with us that would constitute a legal opinion. So as long as we have a form that specifically says that the county is not providing a legal opinion or making a recommendation, because different than a permit is you have option A, you either do it or you don't do it. Zoning, you may have multiple options. So my only concern is when they have multiple options, we are not giving them any legal advice as to which option they should consider. We're just telling them what their options are, correct?
Yes, we're in agreement. We simply provide information on the range of availability and options, but those types of decisions, they would need professionals anyway to advise them on financial impacts and that sort of, so absolutely.
Right, and the last thing I want to put on the record is also the tax implications, right? So there may be changes to their homestead, there may be changes to their property taxes, because if they're remodeling triggers, there's a series of triggers, right? We also do not give legal advice or tax advice on whatever zoning changes anyone should want to make. So I just want to make sure that moving forward, we just have those riders so that everyone is signing off, and then they don't come back and say that we told them to do X, Y, and Z, because I think it's great to help people, but in this case, very different from permitting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're not giving any advice, Lourdes. No advice. All right, with that, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins moves the item, seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Show item 2B2 passed. Commissioner from District 12, you're recognized on 2B5.
Yeah, and I thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think everybody's gotten a copy of what I'm going to speak briefly about. Obviously, this report deals with primarily the properties that were conveyed by deed. But the implementing order that was passed, Order 84, it's properties that were leased or conveyed by the county, which are in non-compliance. I think it makes sense for us, as we saw last meeting, to have a report on properties that we are leasing that may not be in compliance. So essentially, my motion would basically, moving forward, make sure that we have when we get this report, we also have not just properties that are conveyed by deed, but also leases that we may have. And if there's somebody in default, we need to know it so we don't get surprised years later, and then we have two sides to the story. So my motion essentially would extend that to properties that are leased by the county.
Perfect. Madam Attorney, should I take up those two separately? The item, the report itself, and then the motion as a separate motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I think that's a right posture, right? All right, so Commissioner Bermudez moves to B5. Actually, you had pulled it to Senator Garcia?
Actually, it was along the same line of questions.
Same comments? Okay, so it's been moved by Commissioner Bermudez, seconded by Senator Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye. Now, Commissioner Bermudez makes a motion to expand the report to include also all leases on county properties. Right? Do you need to read it officially, Madam Mayor? Madam Attorney, or is that?
I think the commissioner summarized it, but I'm happy to also read
He
it.
summarized it great. I understood it. It's been moved by Commissioner Bermudez, seconded by the Vice Chair. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Show that motion passed. Congratulations, Commissioner, and thank you. Commissioner from District 8 on 2B6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a report also from our administration that I had asked for them to generate regarding the speed at which we do business in Miami-Dade County, i.e. when a contract is approved by this board, how long does it take for it to be executed by the administration? And moreover, how long does it take for purchase orders to be issued under those contracts? So to our procurement department, I have a specific question on page 3 of the report, specifically as it pertains to aviation. Two of the contracts here just stand out to me because it is no secret that our airport and this board desperately desires improvement and repairs at Miami International Airport as expediently as quickly as possible. But two of the contracts listed here, the first is the Schindler contract for $602 million, and it said services under this contract were not needed in the first 60 days. How is that even remotely possible, where that Schindler contract was the source of so much topic and discussion here at the board and issued with a sense of urgency because of the elevator, escalator, and moving walkway repairs that were and still are so desperately needed at Miami International Airport. How is it possible that after passing this board, it is being communicated that services under the $602 million contract were not needed in the first 60 days?
Director?
Namita Upal, Chief Procurement Officer. Commissioner, before I answer your question, I just want to make sure everybody understands, once the contract is awarded, it's entered in the system, and then the allocations approved by the board are entered by department, and then each department is responsible for issuing the purchase orders. So I don't control that. Specifically with regards to this question, there are many times when we come to the board, we get the contract awarded, but the existing contracts are still in place, and we have not terminated them. Secondly, depending on which Schindler contract, which existing contracts this was replacing, there might be badging, staff may be going through the badging process at the airport. So before we issue the purchase order, airport needs to make sure there's appropriate ramp-up time, equipment needed, as well as the staff is badged. So this is a decision that each department director and their team take. Okay, should we terminate the contract right now? The board approved it, or is the new company ready? Because there are times that the board has approved contract and we have a 6-month ramp-up period. And we have brought those, we let the board know upfront. So Ralph is here, Director QTA is here, but based on my discussions, we want to make sure when we issue the purchase order, the company is ready to go and they have the appropriate tools and people ready to go.
Director, can you approach and complete the response?
Sorry. So, and Commissioner, Namita is 100% right. So
Ralph
when these
Coutier, Director of...
Ralph Coutier, Director MDAD. Mr. Chair, Commissioner, so what drove this was exactly what Namita said. Once the contract is awarded, there's several things that have to happen before they even start. One of the biggest things is getting the employees badged, and that is something that's totally out of our control. Our staff does everything possible to expedite that process, but that goes through the Federal Department of Homeland Security, et cetera, and sometimes that can take months. So that would be what caused this. I can tell you, on a side note, Schindler has done a tremendous job over the last year and a half since this contract was awarded. We've gone from 85% operational to 95% operational. So we've gotten tremendous traction and made a lot of progress on the project. I mean, we currently have about 30 modernizations underway, 30 that have been completed, and our numbers are way better than they were when the contract was awarded. So I will tell you that the contract has made a huge difference. That $681 million investment has paid tremendous dividends and continues to do so every year. So we're already establishing that cadence of 30 to 40 mods a year. So yes, the first 60 days was, I would consider, a ramp-up period, badging period, and that's why that's reflected in this report.
Thank you for that, Director. Is that true as well for the baggage handling system at Miami International
Correct.
Airport? It's a $95 million contract that's listed on here as well.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that explanation, and anything that you need from us in order to shrink that ramp-up period, particularly at our airport as it pertains to improvements, let us know. I'm happy to help so that we can get these contracts out to work as quickly as possible.
Any help you can give us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Director, 2 seconds just to save me a phone call that I've been meaning to, when I keep slipping. Did we get the new janitorial company already started at the airport?
They start May 31st, so they start at the end of this month, May 31st or June 1st. So they will be starting at the end of this month. We're already working with them. They've already hired, I think both firms combined have hired about 95% of C&W's employees, as they committed to. And we've had several meetings, both in person and virtually, with their management, so they're ready to hit the ground running at the end of this month.
And they got their badges set up?
We're working on the badges. Again, that's something that we don't control, but we started that process early on, so we're working on that. Some of the employees are already badged because they're going to be getting C&W's employees, so those already have badges. But
Thank you, Director.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, I just want to thank Commissioner Cohen-Higgins for bringing this up because I had similar questions regarding this. And I don't know if this is something for Namita or for the department, but, I do feel that perhaps the wording is a little misleading, right? When we're saying that it's not needed, it's not that it's not needed, it's that we're having a ramp-up period. So perhaps the proper terminology to use in the future would be, a ramp-up period instead of it's not needed, because, to the commissioner's good point, it just seems, when I read not needed, it seems like a lot of these contracts are coming to us with urgency, and then we approve these contracts, and it's reflecting in a report that the contracts weren't needed for 60 days. You know what I mean? And I know that that wasn't the intent, and you guys do a wonderful job, but perhaps for future purposes, maybe we can use a little bit more descriptive language.
Will do.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. With that, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins moves item 2B6. It's seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez. Seeing no further discussion on this report, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. So item 2B6 passed. And Commissioner from District, who do I go with first? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Commissioner from District 8 on 8P3. All right, I'll start with Commissioner from District 5 on 8P3. Eileen Higgins?
Okay.
You still represent District 5.
I am representing District 5. By the way, welcome to District 5, where you are seated today. We appreciate your visit.
On 8P3, Commissioner.
On 8P3. I just have a couple of questions. I had watched the committee, and it looked like there was an amendment being proffered to change the awardees. So I'm kind of referencing, I don't see an amendment yet, but I presume it's coming because Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, you ran that meeting. But wanted to ask a question of the administration. In the Group B, the awardees for Group B, is anyone going to come here and help me? Thanks.
Yes, Ralph Coutier.
Okay. So my understanding, as we all know, and none of you were on the commission in the early days of the horrors of Miami International Airport, where we are on national television, and I ended up being dragged to Washington for a congressional hearing on the poor state of affairs at our gaspers, the mistreatment of workers, the lack of drinking water, the lack of paid time off, vehicles without seat belts, vehicles filled with cockroaches, on and on and on. These were low-wage workers working rough jobs, right, that keeps our airport ticking, but they were being mistreated by the companies, or one of the companies in particular. So with a lot of great effort in my first 2 years on the commission, and also with the help of now our mayor, we really transformed the airport's reputation around how our low-wage workers working on baggage handling, working at security, all of these folks in the gaspers are treated, and big progress has been made. And I've had no phone calls, and none of us had been hauled up to Washington to explain what's going on at Miami International Airport. And one of the achievements in doing that, even though for our gaspers it's not a requirement that living wage be paid, that all of these folks in Group B have voluntarily signed agreements that say they will pay the living wage, that they will provide some paid time off. Usually I think it's for, it's for sick days, or if someone, needs to whatever, do something personal. And then for some of these employees, it's very expensive to park at the airport. They help offset some of the parking contracts. So Ralph, I'm wondering if you can confirm all of the companies in Group B, that would be Yulin, G2, Swissport, Triangle, Menzies, they've all signed those agreements with those three things, correct?
It's my understanding that they've all agreed to pay for living wage. I'd have to look up if they've signed the agreements, but that is my understanding.
My understanding is there's an agreement. Namita, is that your understanding?
So, Commissioner, all of these, Namita Upal, the RFP required a very strong criteria for employee satisfaction.
Okay.
And part of that criteria was what are going to be your wages? What are you going to be? Do you pay sick time, paid time off? How do you make sure the employees are not at risk? So employee working conditions were evaluated, and whatever they proffered, each company proffered set of wages and benefits, those are included in the contract for each company. And like, for example, I have Menzies here, that's on the top, not that I'm picking them up. So they proffered wages from $21 to $25, so that's obviously higher.
Yeah, higher than living wage. Yep.
So all of the wages that they proffered are incorporated in the contract.
Including paid time off and parking, is that, my understanding is they all have separate agreements to help employees with that as well.
So any benefit that they proffered is incorporated, so we can make sure, since they were selected based on those benefits, they are obligated now to provide those benefits to employees.
Commissioner, also it
Yes.
includes working conditions like heat, breaks, things like that.
Yeah, break rooms, keys, water provided, that things are going to be clean. I'm not going to be seeing any cockroaches when I go there the next time. I'm not going to have some thug-like guy try to throw me out of our own airport, all that stuff. Which happened, by the way, to me. So, colleagues, should we, my understanding at commission is two of these companies are going, at committee, two of these companies are going to merge into one, which is fine. That happens, which would open up another slot in our GASPers. And I think on the fly, without complete negotiations, we were just going to add the next highest company. That company does not have a great reputation around the country for how it treats its workers. So I am not opposed to adding them as long as it is completely negotiated in advance that these same conditions that the other companies are agreeing to are met. And if that is not done, then respectfully, I will be voting against this item. And certainly against adding a company that is not going to be providing the same worker standards, worker benefits, and working conditions, including wages. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner from District 8, you're the other polling commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Higgins, for those remarks. I pulled the item because at committee, there was a friendly amendment that was made, and I said at the time that I was not comfortable amending the item because the sponsoring commissioner was not present at that committee hearing. And so I pulled the item for today so that the sponsoring commissioner could address the amendment that was proposed. And so, separate from that, regarding the comments made by Commissioner Higgins, I'm concerned by what you just said. I remember you testifying in Congress. I'm not sure if I was sitting on the board at that time. I think I was. But I remember that whole situation, and you handled it elegantly and beautifully. My concern is regarding the company that you just mentioned doesn't have a great reputation around the country, but they're already in our airport, right? This is not a new company being introduced. This is a company that is already a part of our MDAD community and family. So I want to make my position clear on this. This potential merger, I think, creates an opportunity for one license to drop down to the next highest ranking bidder just out of fairness and process and procedure, not to just arbitrarily add another license to the list. And that merger has not yet happened. And so there's a lot of contingencies, and I asked for specific things to be done at the airport committee between then and now. And I would love for somebody from either MDAD or the administration to give me an update on the requests that were made at the airport committee, because we needed some clarification before moving forward. But I guess before you do that, to the sponsoring commissioner, I'd love to hear on whether or not you're amenable to the amendment that was proposed at our airport committee.
Commissioner Gilbert, you're recognized.
I did not actually watch the airport committee. I was traveling internationally. I didn't watch the airport committee. So I'm not familiar with the exact amendment. I did speak with representatives from, I believe, the company, and I told them I didn't have a problem with it. The challenge that I'm having right now is, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. The challenge that I'm having is that the conditions that Commissioner Higgins started to mention came to me late last night. And so I think we need to have a meaningful conversation about not just this item, but the standards that we want for our employees, and for not just our employees, but for people who work at the airport, ought to be not just something you can optionally, opt in the contract. That ought to be a condition of our RFP. This is what we want. So we can't say that we can't legally require you to pay a living wage, but we can say that we want you to pay this much, and we want you to actually scale it based on, we can do some other things. And so what I am concerned about when I hear this is an obligation. We're going to have 6 licensees. And if we allow someone who can come in and not pay comparable benefits, you actually have you're giving a competitive advantage to other folks.
Disadvantage, yeah.
Mr. Chair.
And so I'm open to the amendment. I just think that some representatives from the companies are here, and I think that we need to have a conversation with them about the benefits that they actually plan on paying and giving to the employees that work at our airport.
All right, so if the representative will come up, but while you're coming up, feel free to just stand at the podium for a minute at the well. Jimmy, you want to say something?
Mr. Chairman, I think Commissioner Cohen has asked us to provide an update based on the comments made to committee. Jimmy Morales, Chief Operating Officer, through the chair. If you recall, at the committee, we indicated that while we had heard, through third parties that the companies, I think it was Menzie, was thinking to buy or merge with G2, we indicated at committee we have not received anything in writing from any of the companies indicating what that transaction will look like. Will it take place? I believe that this morning we are still without, despite having said that at committee, we still as a county administration have not received any documentation, any proposal, anything. Now, that said, because I think to address a point that Mr. Gilbert was making, to the extent any company is added as a permittee, they are subject to all the same conditions as the other permittees. So anybody who holds this permit would have to pay living wage and all the other conditions of our contract. And legal can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But so they're subject to this, this RFP or procurement has conditions to it that they would have to abide by. But we don't know if it's going to be a merger or not. We don't know, will it be one permittee, two permittees? We don't have any of that information at this point, so we can't really provide any formal view on that.
Right. I was also under the impression, and I remember somebody also telling me verbally that there was 2 licensees that were merging, so that we're all on the same page with that. I'm sorry? That was my understanding also. Yeah, that was my understanding. So, but it's just not official, I guess. So I don't know if this may not be the way this works, right? So to the attorneys, but can we move something forward today contingent on that merger, right? Like if we're given an additional license, we're not giving 7 licenses, I guess it's the thing. We only want to give 6. So if that's what this board wants, right? I don't know. But from what I'm gathering, and I'll go now to, yes, I see the hands up, is I don't know to the attorneys if that's, I'll go around the room. I just think that we were told something, it hasn't transpired yet, hasn't happened. So Commissioner Regalado, you're recognized.
Thank you. This RFP has been in the works for a very, very long time. And I know that we try at committee to move things along because we want them to go to the BCC. But it concerns me when we get to the BCC and we're making amendments, and then we're talking about, I received information last night, and then the administration is saying that they don't have information, which is probably why some items should not make it out of committee without being fully vetted. So if you can't make an amendment there, then maybe you just defer it for the next time until you can figure it out. I would like to hear from the folks, but I just feel like this is happening a lot where an item makes it out of committee, and then we're like, oh, we'll amend it at the BCC, and then at the BCC, we get these 11th hour, accusations and information, and if there's this or if there's that, and then we're forced to make a decision on a few representations. So I would just caution everyone that I really think that at the committee level, we should finalize this stuff, and if a deferment is what that means, then it would be easier for the board. I mean, that is the purpose of the committees, right? Like, the purpose of the committees is to do this work. So I just want to hear from the folks that are here, because I think there's a lot of stuff being thrown around, and now we got to vet it in real time.
I agree. Thank you, Commissioner Regalar. And I agree. I think that's exactly what the committee process is meant to be. But I did follow this item because I anticipated that it may get some discussion. And it seemed pretty vanilla, right? That's why I moved it to the next BCC, which is where we're at today. And I think it is pretty vanilla. Even with the amendment, there's just one caveat, right? Is we were told one thing, and I was under the impression that that was worked out. There's no way that we would have known that because that's a private business, private to private business. That's not something outlined in the item, nor will it ever be outlined in the item. But with that, Commissioner Bermudez, you're recognized.
Let me just start by saying that I agree with both Commissioner Gilbert and Commissioner Regalado. It's disconcerting sometimes on something. Well, first of all, I'm not even sure that we can make a decision on something that really hasn't necessarily happened yet, because if this merger hasn't happened technically yet, mergers blow up all the time, and if they do, what are we going to do then? That's one. Number two, I agree with Commissioner Higgins, obviously, that we want everybody to play by the same rules of the game. And as Commissioner Gilbert says, you give somebody an unfair advantage if, in fact, that happens. So unless there's some sense of clarity, I don't think these items should come up in a form that could bring another player into the process at the last second that may not play by the same rules. That makes me feel very, very uncomfortable. And I think that Commissioner Regalado was correct that that's part of the process of the committees. But if there's and this item has been sitting around for a long time, I understand that. But when you get an item that, and there are valid reasons sometimes on an emergency basis to change things, I don't have a problem with that. But when there's not enough clarity as to what's going to happen, I don't think I think we should move forward with what we have, with whatever amendments are proper, and then come back if in fact, and we'll know by that time whether this new entity or additional entity, whichever one you want to add, would then agree to play by the same rules, so to speak. So that's my thought process. I think it would be a lot easier to do it that way. I think we have to protect the workers, obviously, and from what we can do, because legally we have limitations, but certainly we can ask, and as both my colleagues have said, to make it fair, and it seems like there's been positive agreements, but we don't know. A new entity is a new entity, and if there's no new legal entity right now, I feel a little uncomfortable moving forward.
Commissioner Garcia.
I think, based on some of the conversation I think I followed this issue. I think some of us have followed this issue, but I feel comfortable with the idea and the notion of moving it forward contingent on the fact that there will be this merger that we've been hearing about happening. I have no problem with that. So if there's a motion to be made, I'll be happy to make that motion and have it second, then we could have it considered.
So is that something that we can do, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Chair. You could award with a directive to the mayor that to the extent that the firms merged and a permit became available, to award a following permit to the next highest ranked responsible proposer.
All right. I would defer to the sponsor of the item, but I would feel comfortable with that. I think at some point it'd be fair to give the opportunity to one of the permit applicants, which would be that one affected, right? The sixth one, if you would say, which is the young lady standing at our well. So what are your thoughts on the conversation? And would that be amenable to the company? I know if you need clarity, I'm happy to clarify.
Well, good morning, Madam Mayor, Chairman, members of the commission. Thank you so much for having us here and giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my company, which is AGI. I am the vice president at AGI. My name is Sarah Andrews. We have been working at Miami-Dade since 1989 and have proudly been headquartered here in Commissioner Regalado's district since that time. We have operated out of the first cargo building that was open on the Western U since 1989, and since the inception of the living wage ordinance have followed those rules. We've paid our employees according to the living wage, and in fact, our employees in Miami that have been here for a long time, their management actually shares equity with us in the company. So we have a great employee base here. We have just under 1,000, and we do make it our mission to pay them according to the living wage ordinance. We have also lobbied for this in airports around the country to have a living wage ordinance. We were one of the few in Los Angeles recently that didn't push back on the living wage ordinance increase. We've done the same. We've been supportive of it here in Miami, We think it's important that our airport workers have a living wage and have done everything in our power to make it so. In terms of the timing of this, it's difficult for the airlines as they issue RFPs, it's difficult to have sort of something hanging in the balance and not settled. So as airlines, and they've made it clear that they want additional options for gaspers. We've been asked multiple times if we can service the passenger airlines here at Miami because they're thrilled with us on the cargo side. They're looking to issue new RFPs to the new gasper permit holders. So I would, just put that out there as a caveat that we understand that the two companies are merging. That has been documented well in the news, and that there is some timing considerations to think about.
Okay. And just to be clear, Director, and I know the answer to this. This is not one of those questions, just to get clarity because we've had a lot going on. Gasper licenses, we're just essentially giving them a permit to operate in our airport. But the airlines still have to decide who they want to work with.
That is correct. The Gaspers get the permits from MDAD, and then they contract directly with the airlines for the services they provide, be they wheelchair services, under-the-wing services, tug, cabin cleaning, that type of thing.
We don't expense anything, right? There's no cost affiliated to the county. And
No, they get paid from the airlines. They contract, their privity of contract was with the airlines.
I see no harm with it, Commissioner Gilbert, but this is your item. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I don't see a harm with going forward with the item with the caveat that the merger occurs. This is what I would say though. I find more comfort in that motion if it was AGI. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being here today. If AGI would commit to the things that the other folks committed to, and that's paying the living wage, the parking, and the paid time off. I'd be more comfortable with it then, because then I know I wouldn't be giving a competitive disadvantage to someone who is going to be bidding on the other stuff. So I don't have a problem conditioning this and moving forward today. I will say that, and Commissioner Regalado, I agree with you. But I take that's not the committee chairperson's fault. I was traveling internationally. I couldn't be there at committee. I apologize for that. We'll try to make sure that doesn't happen so we can resolve these things in committee the next time. So that would be on me. I apologize for that.
So,
but those are the things that I would be looking at.
So, Commissioner, I think I see her nodding her head, but I think either Jimmy, our chief, or the attorney mentioned that they have to abide by the same guidelines. That's what I just heard from...
Mr. Chairman, legally, we can't require them to do that.
Okay. Would you go on the record and add to the contract that you will?
Yes, absolutely. We commit to pay our employees according to the living wage ordinance and the other
parking and the other
40 hours of PTO and assist with parking allowances, whatever that is. So if you all, we can make the adjustment and the administration can work that out with them. I don't have a problem with moving forward, item 4 subject. I would love to hear what the committee chairwoman is going to say though. I see her hands up.
Thank you for being a great partner and agreeing to that. The only thing I just mentioned, and I'll go now to the committee chairwoman, but the only thing I'd mention, just based on her comments, Commissioner Gilbert, if you captured that part, is when we make the motion, if everybody, that's where this body wants to go, is are we doing it with that caveat that I mentioned or not, right? Because to her point is the airlines aren't going to feel comfortable awarding a contract based on a potential acquisition or merger.
I'm comfortable with going forward now with the understanding that if the other two do merge, we don't subsequently see it as having another empty spot.
Agreed.
Yeah, so that's the challenge. And I'm told that what's preventing the merger now is it's not being prevented. They need, like the other things we heard previously, they need federal approval. So that's what they're working on now.
Chairwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to be clear on the motion that's before the body. The award to the next ranked bidder before us, which is AGI, is not contingent on the merger, or it is contingent on the merger?
It's an interesting question, because I probably wouldn't use the word contingent, because if we approve it today before the merger, there's going to be 7. So what I'm saying is there's going to be 7 now, but because they're already active at the airport and they already have space, most times we limit these things because of space, and they already have space. So it's to no practical effect. What I'm hesitant about is we're awarding, and we would be awarding 7 right now. I don't want, when that merger, and if that merger does occur, I don't want us to view that empty spot as another spot to fill. I want it to be actually, we're contracting then. We're contracting back down to the natural 6 positions that we intended to actually.
So we are issuing 7 now with an understanding expressly on the record that once the merger occurs, it will revert back to 6, correct?
Yes.
And what happens if the merger does not occur?
Well, what happens if the merger not occur? I think we're probably stuck with 7, but because they already have space at the airport, it doesn't actually. Let me do it a different way. If we did 7 and a 7th person and it wasn't them, it was a brand new person, we'd have a problem. We'd have a problem because we simply don't have the space to accommodate it. But if having 7 and they're the 7th because they're already there operational, it doesn't make a difference.
Okay, so if there's no merger, they keep their license?
Yes.
I want to be clear.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Bastien.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do echo some of the concerns of my colleagues, especially Commissioner Higgins. And then last night and this morning, I also heard from some workers, in our community. And my concerns are, I agree, I understand that you today agreed to abide by some of the requests stated on the by some of my colleagues on the dais. But my question to the administration is, how do we hold her accountable? Because I've been hearing some stories lately, especially from the calls last night about people working, some of our airport workers sleeping in their cars because they're not making enough money to pay for rent. Times are tough for people. I hear what you said about abiding by some of the requests made, but my question is, and I don't know if it's Ralph or who can answer that, how do we make sure that the rights of the workers will be protected? How do we make sure that we don't have, so many of our Miami-Dade County workers working 2 jobs? Sometimes we have 2 members working and then they are sleeping in cars, which is unacceptable to me. How do we hold folks accountable?
Director, they'll have to sign it in their contract, right?
Correct. First of all, Commissioner, once we sit with them and that the terms are negotiated, that they have to comply with the same terms everybody else does. Once the contract is executed, then it'll fall on us to make sure that that's enforced, working together with the airlines and when they contract with them. So
go through the process with me, because I've heard so many complaints before, and then I'm going to be meeting with you to discuss some of them. But what is the process? Let's say they get this contract. This contract is awarded. When do they get some assessment? What happens?
once it's awarded and the mayor's 10-day veto period passes, then we'll sit with them, get the contract executed. They have to submit their insurance, bonds, and other type of paperwork. But once the contract is executed and they sign, they are duty-bound legally to be held to the terms of the contract like all the other firms are. So, our team will make sure that that contract is enforced. We have a team that will verify that, and if there's some issue, then our staff will follow up with both the Gasper, the firm itself, to make sure, and we've done that in the past with one other Gasper, where they've had issues. We brought them in, gotten the issues corrected, and they now are working with their employees well. So we've done that in the past.
And in the reports that you submit, you will make sure to apprise us of what's really going on?
Of course, we will be glad to.
All right, thank you, Director. All right, seeing no further debate. Seeing no, do you have debate on this?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I seem to echo the concerns that Commissioner Bermudez raised. And listening to the conversation back and forth, I'm not quite sure if there's going to be a motion to amend the motion. so that clarity can be brought.
A motion. All right, Commissioner Gilbert, you're recognized to respond.
All right, what we've, I've been speaking with the attorneys, and go ahead and read what we have prepared.
Certainly. The item would be amended to award an additional permit to AGI based on its representations that its proposal includes compliance with living wage ordinance, paid time off, and parking allowance for employees. In addition, in the event that a permittee ceases operations, the county mayor, county mayor's designee shall not backfill such permit without prior action of the Board of County Commissioners.
All right, I think that's covers what you said. So Commissioner Gilbert moves the item as amended,
Yes.
seconded by,
That's my amendment. His
oh, it's your,
amendment to the amendment.
yeah. Is there another amendment, or is that?
No, that, because no, there was
Well,
an,
it's my motion, his amendment to my motion. I guess.
yeah, so there was, we talked about the amendment that I wasn't here to hear.
Got it.
And so, but this should, I would accept this and make it a part of my original item. And what this does is it holds them, it makes a part of their proposal, all the terms that we need them to agree to for the employees.
Awesome. All right, so it's amended to the amendment, and the item is moved as amended. All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Gilbert, seconded by Commissioner Orbis. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. All right, show the item passed. All right, Madam Attorney, is that it for my pool list? I believe that it's a yes. All right, so from, all right, guys, I have a motion that has been distributed to cancel 2 meetings in June. So the BCC meeting on June 17th and the CDMP, quiet as you exit, please. And the CDMP meeting on June 18th. The June 18th one, we're rescheduling to the following week, June 26th. And obviously there's reasons why these have to be canceled. But then the June 17th BCC meeting, I was thinking we just do it in July, and we'll have a very packed agenda. We'll have the millage, we'll have potentially a solid waste system, but we can also push that to the following week. It is at the will of this board what you all wish to do. Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I appreciate that everyone has scheduling issues. However, the July meeting is our last meeting before we take a break. This would put us at 2 committee cycles into the July meeting because there were a lot of items that didn't make it into this meeting. So I would request if we could have our BCC meeting on June 25th, since we're having our comp plan on June 26th. This month, we canceled comp plan, so it's really important to have the June 26th one and to have attendance. But we have a lot to cover in July, and I really think it's important for us to have that second June meeting. If not, I'm fine. I mean, I'll pack a lunch, I'll pack dinner, but the issue is just the bandwidth of covering all these items in July, because we're going to have a lot of public hearing in July. We have the millage, we have all the waste items. I'm available whenever, but my suggestion is June 25th, if that works for everyone for the BCC. No, I guess we can kick around some other dates right now, but I just think we would have too many items going to the July 16th meeting.
So I think, yes, Commissioner Higgins, yes.
So maybe I'm confused. This happens often. July 1st, I have written down as BCC. Is that correct? And then I have also July 16th as BCC.
Correct.
So we do have 2 meetings that are BCC in July. I can't make the week of the 24th, but my question to you, Mr. Chairman, is if we as committee chairs are seeing things that are either that maybe need to be accelerated, maybe need to skip committee to come forward, could we do that on the first meeting in June? And I realize I'm not going to make everything, but every now and then a department might say, if we don't execute this contract, it would be delayed. So maybe there's a chance that the committee chairs could review our agendas and prioritize a few things to go early without committee review rather than waiting all the way till July 1st. So I toss that out.
Of course.
Or you could just make a nice little light agenda, and for those of us that happen to be here on June 17th, we could do the easy stuff and save the harder stuff for July 1st. It's up to you.
So I think, yes, and I'm open to either option. I think the question really comes down to, and Commissioner Regalado, you kind of alluded to it indirectly, is do we want a really long meeting in July, or do we want 2 meetings? Like, do you want to be dragged down to downtown and twice?
Are they the only options?
Well,
A really
we
long
can
meeting?
discuss other dates. I'm open. I will make myself available. If I'm in town, I will make myself available.
Mr. Chair, if we can ask the attorneys, I know that we're having comp plan on July 26th. We could do both. We could do BCC and comp plan.
We
That's
could.
another
July
option.
26.
Whatever the
I mean,
chair.
June 26th, sorry, June 26th, sorry, June 26th.
Chairman, I'm comfortable with whatever date you determine. I have some traveling things. My stepdaughter, we're taking her to college, and so that's going to be. But I think that's like right
June
after. So I think we should be fine. I can accommodate whatever.
June
it is.
26th is 3 days before the July 1st meeting, so 3 working days before.
So originally we
that
have-
doesn't make,
So we're moving June 26th for the CDMP, and what the suggestion now is that we can just bundle in a BCC meeting there because we'll be down here for CDMP.
but aren't we meeting just 3 days later on July 1st for BCC? Am I confused?
No, you're not. You're not confused.
So-
I think the concern is the accumulation of
items.
so that we're not here till 5, 6 o'clock.
I'm not here on the 26th, but with the will, if everybody wants to be there, I won't be able to help with quorum. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I know you won't be here, but sometimes we miss meetings and so forth. But I tend to like the idea of breaking it into two different meetings. So if we could have the June 26th one, I think that would be appropriate. We could have some work done there then July 1st as well. So.
Okay, Madam Attorney, does that work? Can we have BCC and CDMP on the same date?
Yes, we can
right.
print those agendas separately for you.
So I'd amend my motion to have the regular board meeting scheduled for June 17th, also rescheduled for June 26th, along with CDMP and zoning. From the June 18th to the June 26th. All right, so I've amended my motion.
Mr. Chair, so rather than June 17th, we're going to have it on June 26th?
Correct. We're going to have everything on June 26th, both BCC for that last meeting in June and CDMP and zoning.
I have to leave early on June 26th. I would prefer June 17th, but if it's the will of everybody else.
June 17th, just have to, we're not here, but we're going to do the 26th. If you need to leave early, it's going to be a short agenda. Okay. I'm not going to pack that agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And Mr. Chair, the only thing, obviously it's to your discretion, but for the things that are time sensitive, we would just put them on that June 1, and that'll be shorter. And then the stuff that's more complicated, we could leave to July. But that way we can lighten the agenda.
We may not have quorum, but we'll cross that.
on
If we don't
June
have quorum, I'll
26th.
send out a memo. If we don't have quorum, right now, we're moving everything to June 26th.
Well, can everybody that can be here on June 26th raise their hand? Why do we have to send a memo? We can just raise our hands.
Okay, we'll have quorum.
We'll have quorum.
We'll have quorum. All right, so June 26th
We
for
can
BCC.
put your items for July 1st.
All right, we got it, guys. All right, June 26th. With that, the vice chair makes the motion. Senator Garcia seconds the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. All right, show those dates moved. Madam Attorney, any further business outside of any motions by commissioners or?
No business, but we do have a couple more motions.
All right, go ahead.
You want mine?
Yes, Commissioner Bermudez, you're recognized.
This is pretty brief. I'll let Melanie read it, but just to give you a background, we have a library that we rent space, county library. There's one being built in downtown Doral. This one is the space we rent. It's going to be a couple of months late, so we need to have an agreement to extend that lease at the existing site for month to month, because it's not going to, we don't know exactly how many months it'll be. It's not going to be too many. So if Melanie could read Ms. Spencer could read the.
Commissioner Bermudez moves to authorize and direct the county mayor's designee to, upon review for legal sufficiency by the county attorney's office, execute any documents necessary to effectuate a month-to-month extension of the county's existing lease agreement with Downtown Doral Retail Holdings, Inc. for the space utilized for the temporary Doral library located at 8551 Northwest 53rd Court. The lease agreement was previously approved by the board via resolution number R369-22. The monthly lease extension amount is $17,577.44 per month. $59.70 per square foot, and will enable the library to continue at this location through the completion of the new Durrell Library, which is currently under construction.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Bermudez, seconded by Commissioner Higgins. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Show the motion passed. Commissioner Hardiman, anything? Commissioner Bastien? Commissioner Orbis? Commissioner Bastien, you're recognized.
Chair, I raised my hands for the 26th of June, but I will not be in
Okay,
town.
I think we should be
You still
good with
okay?
quorum.
I
I
wanna
think
make
we're
sure
okay.
that you're okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Commissioner Regalado?
Yes, I have an item. If the
A motion?
A motion, if the attorneys could read it, please.
You recognize, Mr. Attorney.
The budget motion, Commissioner Regalado?
Yes, it's,
Commissioner Regalado moves to direct the county mayor or county mayor's designee to provide the commission auditor with copies of all proposed departmental budget files and documents with the sub-line item details submitted for this upcoming fiscal year, and for any line items currently funded by the general fund that are projected by the county mayor to include a change in revenue and expenditure for the upcoming fiscal year. The county mayor or county mayor's designee shall provide the commission auditor within 7 days with information that provides an explanation, including both qualitative and quantitative information, to support the projected year-over-year budget change that is sufficiently detailed to substantiate and enable review of the estimated deficit described by the county mayor's designee at the May 14th meeting of the Appropriations Committee.
Mr. Chair, the reason that I'm bringing this item, and I know that the administration has some issues with it, is I only have the June 11th and the July 9th appropriations meeting before we set the millage on July 16th. The mayor by law has until July 15th to provide us with the budget, and that's usually when she does it. That does not give us enough time to drill down before the break. At the GET committee, we were talking with, on the record, with Commissioner Bermudez about potentially doing a joint meeting of appropriations and GET so that we could drill down on the budget. Obviously, everyone is invited to attend, but I need more information. Yenka needs more information than what we're being given in order to do some sort of analysis before we set the millage. Because when we set the millage, the die is cast. So I'm stopping everything that I'm doing to work on this, and I really need more information from the administration. I know that they're not happy with this request, but I ask you to support me as much as possible in terms of getting the information so that we can provide this board with options, and we're not left at the last minute scrambling to try to figure out what we can do on the 16th.
So, Commissioner, my staff was speaking to me, so I missed the actual motion, but I do agree, and I actually just met with the mayor earlier this week, if not yesterday, perhaps. I'm losing track of days, and they're being very cooperative and collaborative with the commission auditor's office. But if there is something that you need to be able to complete your task as the chair.
Right. So this is a request from the commission auditor. So we have been meeting, but we need more specificity in terms of subline items, right? And I know that this has come up before. There was an item before appropriations that was deferred, but that would have been for the next budget, not necessarily for this one. We met with the auditor yesterday. We've met with the staff on different issues. We had the departments present, but without the information on the sublines.
Yeah,
You
and I
know.
think that's reasonable, and I think
gonna
that they're willing to provide that as from their our conversation. So it's a non-adversarial motion to my extent. So it's been moved, it's been seconded.
Second, yeah.
I think the administration is okay with that. I support that, obviously. Commissioner, so it's been moved, it's been seconded. Commissioner Cohen-Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This motion is a replica of an ordinance that was passed at first reading and was before the Appropriations Committee just last week. And it was deferred at the request of the administration for very, very specific reasons, articulated to me that it would place such an incredible burden and onus on the administration. So if it's going to go from an ordinance that last week was deferred at the Appropriations Committee and now brought before the board as a floor motion, I need an explanation from the administration as to why it is that my motion was requested to be deferred indefinitely, because it was so arduous and onerous on the administration, and now it is before the board as a floor motion. So I need to get clarity on this because we all work very collaboratively. We put in legislative hold, we prepare items, we work to bring items before the board, and we're constantly working in the administration, with the administration in a collaborative effort. This directly usurps that process, and so I need clarification either from the administration or from Yinka, because right now the information that I have is crossing and not making much sense.
To the administration, I think
Yes.
you're welcome to respond. I mean,
Yes.
but I think the information should not be something that's difficult to provide, right? I mean,
Mr. Chair,
through the
just,
chair.
just a point of
but
clarification.
let's get the mayor to respond, and then
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we certainly want to work collaboratively with you. We're in a budget year like we've never seen before. We are looking at every opportunity to close the gap in our budget. An ordinance that was proposed would have required us to, on an ongoing basis, provide more detail about line items and would have been extremely burdensome and arduous. We do want to provide more information so that the board can assist us in making difficult choices. We will provide what's available. The problem is, Mr. Chair, and to the maker of the motion, we are in the middle of crunching all these numbers. There isn't anything definitive to share. So as we've discussed in each of our meetings with the commissioners and with you yesterday, Mr. Chair, what was submitted by departments earlier in the year is not what is going to be the final version of the budget. Of course not, because it reflects a gap between revenues and expenses. So we are here to, we've been meeting. David Clodfelter can speak more to this as our budget director. We are working to try to provide information on a timely basis, but at this precise moment, I think two different things are being asked. One is, the question is, why are we projecting the gap that we are, and how do we support that? And that is information that David can provide. The next question is, what exactly are we proposing to balance the budget? We don't have that information and cannot yet provide it. And we did tell each of the commissioners that we would come back to you before July, right? After we get the projections from the property appraiser, after we've had an opportunity to look at all the available options to us, and we've received the additional budget request from the fourth constitutional officer, that we will come back to discuss what we are contemplating putting into our proposed budget.
all right. So Commissioner Koenig, you still have the floor.
Again, so I know the motion is before the body. In order to support your motion, Commissioner, again, I'm not going to repeat myself. I was told that with fervor, Madam Mayor, you're nodding because you're agreeing, right? That is something that the administration was not willing to do. It now looks like it's going to pass before the board. And so I was asking the administration to articulate with the same fervor that was articulated to me, which made me make the decision to defer the item.
Yes.
So that the board can be convinced in the way that I was convinced that this was something that the administration was not capable of doing. That's what I wanted the opportunity
Yes.
to give to the administration currently. I appreciate the mayor doing that. I'm not sure how my colleagues feel on this. We're all trying to accomplish the exact same thing here. Thank you for providing that explanation.
If I might just clarify briefly.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Chair. So again, the ordinance went further, as we understand it, than this motion, and the ordinance would have been extremely arduous. This motion is also something that, the understanding, I would ask David to speak to it, because like I said, we cannot provide detailed information about what is going to be recommended. We can only describe what was the basis for the proposed gap that we are projecting, which is different than what we're proposing to close the gap.
So, yes, David, but give me a second. If there's questions for you, we will call you up in a minute. I did not know, and for obvious reasons, that you were asked to defer that item. But yes, I think that to the extent that the information is available, I know there's work in progress, so I understand that. but certainly the first portion of the ask, I think, is available.
Just as a,
Commissioner Regalado.
thank you. Just as a point of clarification, and I'm supportive of Commissioner Cohen-Higgins' motion, and I understand that she spent a lot of time with it, and I wish we would have been able to discuss it at committee, and I understand that she got tremendous amount of pushback, right? This item just asked for one specific thing. The ordinance was creating a process. I need to verify line items, and I can't verify line items if I don't have more detail on them. And I understand that we're building the plane as we're writing it, but Madam Mayor, understand we are being forced to vote on it while it's happening in real time. So I think we all understand the deficit. I mean, I've understood the deficit for 5 years. We've been talking about the deficit for a very long time. And I am meeting with the constitutional officers, and we are looking at that piece of it. But as we move through it, we need to be looking at the information in real time, because the entire point is that we're going to have an opinion. We're not just going to accept your budget. So my understanding is that I was tasked with finding solutions. And this is the information that I need in order to find those solutions. Because if not, all I'm going to do is what usually happens, which is on July 15th, the day before my birthday, I don't sleep because I'm reading the budget. And then we come into a bear of a meeting. And then we have a gap where we all have all these different meetings. And then we fight, you know, and then we have super quick meetings and a change order, right? So I understand that it's difficult. I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect. I'm not baking it into an ordinance. I'm not saying that you need to do it forever. You know, consider it a small pilot program.
I understand, and I support it. I think that you have, and the mayor has alluded that she has that information. Commissioner Gonzalez, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, you know, I just want to respectfully say I agreed with Commissioner Cohen-Higgins' ordinance when it came up in appropriations. I thought it was a great ordinance. I understand that it might be a little bit burdensome, but I think that to Commissioner Regalado's point, if we are going to be able to opine on the budget, we have to be able to look at line items. And this isn't something that I've said in closed doors. I've said it when we met with David Clodfelter, and I've said it to each and every constitutional officer. I want to go to bat for all of the constitutional officers, but if we're going to get through this hump, as Commissioner Regalado is saying, we're going to have to look at all these line items. So, you know, I like the terminology of we're building the plane in real time. We need to look at all the parts as they get on the plane. I don't see anything burdensome with this. As a matter of fact, I don't think, to the commissioner's point, we're going to be able to help with the budget unless we're able to look at these line items. So I'd be happy to second this.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded already by Commissioner Bermudez. Commissioner Higgins, you're recognized.
Yeah, first of all, this seems very, I don't know, point of order, out of ordery. If you had someone that has a hold on a legislative item who presented something, then deferred her item, then suddenly via motion we're taking what was her item, this sets a very bad precedent, essentially. Anybody, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins. So this sets a very bad precedent, because essentially a person that's been working thoughtfully deferred the item to further hone it with the administration and with her own thinking, and now suddenly any one of us can just say, thanks, we don't want to give you the time to work on it. And Commissioner Regalado, I do appreciate that you always want to dig into the details, but here's what I can tell you. You know, I'm looking at primarily, I spend most of my time on the transit budget, right? Other people work on other things. And I've been meeting with that department on a routine basis pretty much every month since last November to try to close their gap. And they have been innovative, and I have helped them innovate. And so I just don't want to get information that could change 2 weeks later as the mayor and her departments are innovating. I think that's what the Appropriations Committee is for. So I just can't be supportive, and I think it's process for me more than anything else.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Okay, so it was, all right, it's 4-day ruled now by Commissioner Gilbert. But, all right, but I would ask separately, so that motion has been 4-day ruled, but separately, I would like to put on the record that I have had many conversations with the mayor and the administration, David, the director of budget, and they've been working with us. Obviously, Commissioner Regalado has been tasked with a job in her new role, a role that Commissioner Cohen-Higgins has been trying to fulfill as well and working with the administration on. We do need the information. So this just prolongs it till the very next meeting. As far as the 4-day rule goes, there's obviously an ordinance that Commissioner Cohen-Higgins has proffered, but we do need, at least, from my understanding, and I actually asked this question, is at least the gap. I understand the second part is a work in progress, and my request was in our meeting, Mayor, if you recall, was just as that progress continues, that we stay on the same page on a weekly or daily basis, not at the end of the process. But what you should have today, and you alluded to, is that almost $500 million gap. And I think that would be extremely helpful for both Commissioner Regalado and this entire board, really, frankly, beyond just the Appropriations Committee, to further analyze our end of the budget. With that, Commissioner, not on the motion because it's been 4-day ruled.
No,
but
that's fine. It was 4-day ruled. I understand. That just forces me to ask the mayor to do it out of the goodness of her heart and have more meetings, which you're all welcome to. So we will try to endeavor to find solutions to this budget, despite being thwarted by our colleagues to get more information. Always fun.
Commissioner Gilbert.
To the administration, through the chair, I would just say I'm not opposed to the substance of the commissioner's motion. I'm opposed to the manner in which it was presented. Listen, we have the rules of this board for a reason. If we can use this manner to circumvent our legislative drafting process, it sets a dangerous precedent for other folks. So I don't want to do that.
I was not.
Hold on. Thank you. I believe him. And so it might not have been your attention, but in substance, that's what it kind of accomplishes. But to a larger point, Mayor, we shouldn't have to bring an item for a lot of this information. Before another item comes into the administration, where's Yinka at? Stand up. That's Yinka. He's the auditor. Don't make us make you. Give him the information. We will make you all give him the information. We will make you be more inclusive with the process. We will do that. So it doesn't need to come to that, though. The information, some of that she's asking is not an unreasonable request for the people who actually have to pass the budget. So we don't need to be seeing another item or a motion about this. We need people to work collegially in an effort to bring a document that's value-based and allows us to provide for the continuity of service and governance. That is what we need. And so it was my hope that between now and like tomorrow, you're going to have a conversation with them, and he's going to, Yinka, who reports to the chair, is going to come to the chair and say, hey, we're all squared away. They're going to be getting us the information. That's my understanding. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Correct. And I would add that in my meeting, just to put on the record with the administration just yesterday, Yinka is part of those meetings. And actually, I called him last minute, and he was gracious enough to accommodate his schedule and show up. But again, Yinka, and I've told you this plenty of times, I've said it to the administration, the mayor is my witness. David, I've said it to his, if there's information you need to fulfill what we're requesting, and the administration is well aware of what our intent is, then you need to let me know or the administration to make sure that you all are on the same page. But obviously yesterday we were in a meeting and everything seemed that it was moving along just fine. So I rely on this board, but I rely on you on the commission side to get what you need from the administration. So if there's an issue with that, then I need to be made aware so that I can have a conversation with the administration and the mayor. But that was not what was identified or portrayed or expressed yesterday in my meeting. With that, I know Commissioner Gonzalez, you've been waiting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I do want to say I appreciate and I actually agree with everything that Commissioner Gilbert said. And a lot of times, I hate to admit this, but he's kind of the voice of reason when it comes to procedure. However, I do think that this is a very, very important issue that we're talking about here, right? And we have two commissioners. I mean, I saw Commissioner Cohen-Higgins champion this in the Appropriations Committee, and I saw the pushback that she got when she first brought it forward. I do understand the mayor's position, but I saw the pushback she got she got, and I would have voted on it then. I would vote on it now. I think I can say this freely because I know Commissioner Regalado's heart. I don't think it was Commissioner Regalado's intent to step on anybody's toes here. I really don't. I think that we're all just trying to get this done. And to be completely fair, I want to say this publicly, the mayor has been working with my office very diligently in everything that we've been asking her for. But I do think that the line items is important. So, Chairman, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, I don't know if it would be possible for Commissioner Cohen-Higgins to maybe revive that deferred motion, that deferred ordinance, or perhaps to amend it to kind of merge with Commissioner Regalado's motion. And with all due respect to Commissioner Gilbert, because I do think that he makes great points, but, you know, I don't want to disrespect the mayor, but perhaps we should have kind of like a fail-safe, because we do need this information. I completely agree with what the chairman saying. This is necessary information. It's not to disrespect the mayor, but, you know, we kind of want to have it in writing. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you. And just to be clear, and I was supportive of the ordinance and looking forward to discussing it at committee. What I brought was getting me that information right now. I'm not undoing the ordinance or the work that was put in with the ordinance. The ordinance could be brought. It is a prospective ordinance anyway. It is an ordinance that provides the information through the entire process. It doesn't necessarily provide us with the information that I'm requesting at this moment in time, which is why I started this request by listing the few meetings that we have before the July 16th setting of the millage. So I'm very supportive of my colleagues. And by the way, Commissioner Gilbert, as you know, I do not suspend our rules of procedure lightly. And in fact, you supported me, and we went to battle to suspend the rules so that I could bring the item on the constitutional officers, so that we could talk about the fiscal impact. And it took us 2 years to do that, because people did not want to have this conversation, and because there was a commissioner that was weaponizing the holds. So, you know, I have been talking about this for 5 years. When my first meeting, I said, folks, we got to deal with the constitutional officer. Someone needs to bring an item. It's going to have an impact. We need to look at the services that we're providing, because this government is going to change dramatically, and our budget is going to be a disaster once these constitutionals go into effect. You could go back to the first meeting. You go back to at least 20 meetings after that where I talked about this. So just to be clear, I am by no means being inconsistent. Quite the opposite. You know, I am grateful for the opportunity to do this work, and I just want to do it with a clear conscience that I am bringing you information that is verified, because I work well with this administration, but sometimes, folks, they don't give me the right information. And that's happened a lot of times, which is why I need the line item information, because I can't come to you and say, this is what's going to be presented in the budget, because time and time again, I find myself not having the proper information. So I hope that the administration works with us on this, but a budget on July 15th to set a millage on July 16th in this environment is not okay. I understand that that is a status quo, but the status quo is not okay for this year or for next year, for that matter.
All right, Commissioner. So here's what I'm gonna do. You're going to continue working with the administration, because obviously the motion was 4-day ruled. I do agree with the potential precedents that we could be establishing. I did not realize that it was deferred for those reasons. We have a meeting June 3rd. If from now till then there is no progress in the communication, which I'm positive that there will be, because the mayor and the administration has indicated that they're working with us, and to the best of my knowledge, they will continue to do so. Then I would exert my authority as chair and add Commissioner Cohen-Higgins' ordinance to that June 3rd BCC meeting, so that we can move forward with business prior to the deadlines that we have to study and review the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
With that, we're not really on yes, I've allowed, are you good? Because I know you've been on cue, Vice Chair. All right, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, we want you to have the information. That's why we've come to you earlier than ever. That's why we've told you we're coming back to you in June. We're not waiting till July 15th, even though the charter provides the mayor's authority to create a budget and submit it by that date. We are not waiting till the end. We want the Appropriations Committee to be able to support us. Simply speaking, it's a work in progress. So what happens today is not the same as last year. And I agree with Commissioner Regalado, it won't be the same next year either. It is a very different budget. So we look forward to working collaboratively so we can have your support. We don't want to get to after July 15th and people are surprised. That is not our goal whatsoever. So we look forward to continuing to be in an open and collaborative process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And Yinka, please keep me apprised. Commissioner Gonzalez, any motions or appointments?
No, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Cohen-Higgins? Vice Chair? You're recognized for a motion? Yeah, or allocations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The allocations done? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to allocate $2,500 to the North Miami girls basketball. Also another $2,500 to the Keys Clubhouse student neurodiversity program. And I'm also asking that my colleagues, if you can, do the same thing to help both of these programs out, as they're in desperate need of helping these kids achieve their goals and move to the next level. Thank you.
All right, show that motion. Is there a motion? There's a second.
I'll second it. I'll match those. Thank you.
All right, so there's a motion, there's a second. Matched by Commissioner Gilbert. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. All right, show that. Commissioner Regalado, you're recognized.
Thank you. I have one allocation, $5K for the South Florida PBA benefiting the Love Fund. And I have a very special announcement. Today is el 20 de Mayo, and there's two people that share this birthday with Cubans and Cuban Americans, and we're very excited to celebrate them. One is not here, which is Carlos Migoya. So if you get a chance, wish Carlos Migoya a happy birthday. And the other is one of my favorite humans, and that is my Chief of Staff, Tony Esquera. So there is cake in the back, people. Happy birthday, Tony.
Happy birthday, Tony. All right, you've been keeping that a secret. All right.
I'd like to say
Commissioner Steinberg, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just want to say quickly, congratulations to the 2025 Silver Knight nominees and winners. There happen to be a few winners from District 4, Eva Agozi from Speech, Akiba Surfati, Mathematics, and Jack Nelson, Vocational Technical, but all the students were outstanding, so congratulations to all the nominees.
All right, congratulations to all those nominees. Commissioner Gilbert, any, all right, Commissioner Higgins, no? Senator Garcia's gone. All right, with that, seeing no further action, show us adjourned.
For indoor water use, rebates are available for the purchase and installation of water-efficient fixtures, such as faucets, shower heads, and toilets. There's also a shower head exchange program, where